Kia ora koutou and welcome back to sunny Papamoa for the second game of NZ Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 2. Facing off, we have two Auckland teams, AUUC Flow and Tough Cookies. Both games are coming off a win from their last game and will be hoping to be the winners of this game. AUUC Flow, they're seeded 7th and Tough Cookies are seeded 11th. It's a beautiful day here, the sun is out, but so is the wind. We've had a swirly wind, it's a bit inconsistent, almost across the field most of the time, which is really putting the pressure on these teams to be accurate with their throws, to watch the disc into their hands, but also providing a good chance for these teams to show off their zone looks. AUUC Flow have promised an arrowhead zone, so keep an eye out for that on the field. We've got Tough Cookies playing in dark. Keep an eye out for their cookie puns on the back of the shirts. Looks like we have AUUC Flow coming out on defense. They'll be sending the pull down. The wind's going mostly across, but AUUC Flow will be pulling slightly upwind, with Tough Cookies on offense going downwind. Lots of discussion on the Flow line. Tough Cookies looking ready to go. There's lots of noise on the sideline for Tough Cookies. They want to hype their team up. They want to come out firing and get this game off to a good start. Just waiting for a hand from AUUC Flow. Here it goes, disc goes up. Low pull, skidding across the field. Still makes it about 2/3 the way down. Tough Cookies picking up. Nice movement, and we're seeing that arrowhead zone as promised from AUUC Flow. Tough Cookies, just small passes, moving it amongst their handlers, going backwards, trying to break around that arrowhead. They're getting to the sideline, and a hammer goes up. Beautiful crossfield hammer, pinpoint accuracy. The disc is high, it's floating. AUUC Flow is underneath that. What a D. Injury called. Good to see the player getting up, walking off the field. That was Blake Holloway with the D. And Flow now have a chance to show us their offense. Tough Cookies now, they get a second shot. Good movement, round the back of the zone. Oh, but an unfortunate drop. Who knows whether that was the wind or just the pressure from such an intense start to the game. AUUC Flow sitting up in a vertical stack, and you can see that wind is really picking up, flipping that disc over, causing it to go to ground. Tough Cookies will try for the third time to get it in. They go around the zone, it's high, but into the hands of a Cookies player. On the sideline, they go back around. It's high, it's floating. Blake Holloway is there again, bringing it down. The disc goes up, long, doesn't sit. That wind just forces it to ground before AUUC players can get there. Tough Cookies now back towards their end zone. They've got to regain the meters they just lost. They're on the sideline. Looks like the Arrowhead is trying to trap them there, trying to stop them going back around, putting the pressure on. A long shot goes up. It's floating. It's floating too far out the back of the end zone. AUUC now with a chance to attack. They're still in the danger zone, taking the disc from the front line of the end zone. They can't afford to have a turn here, or Cookies will be attacking right on the doorstep. We're seeing a vertical stack here from AUUC Flow, and they're in no rush to pick up the disc, really. They're giving themselves plenty of time to set up, plenty of time to figure out what their play is. That's number 55, Ronnie Redding's going to bring the disc in. Really, they're on the low side of the field here in this corner. The wind's going across and they're going slightly upwind. It's a tricky corner to be in, especially right on your own end zone line. Swings wide to number 14. Beautiful break pass up the field. Momentum stopped by Tough Cookies. Swings again. They're looking and across to the low side. They're looking to get it back up onto the high side. Swings across. Blake Holloway's there for the swing. Doesn't go to him. Another player. It's floating, it's high, and it drops. That wind is so tricky. You can't quite predict what it's going to do to your disc when it's swirling like this. We're seeing Flow setting their Arrowhead zone again. Tough Cookies bringing 3 handlers back to deal with it. Disc goes across. Working between 2 handlers, they're trying to get in between the zone. Swings wide, but to the low side. Good hands there to bring it down. And a D by Flow. They'll be feeling more comfortable, and it goes high, it's long, it's floaty. There's everyone underneath it. Oh, Ronnie Reddings bounces off his hands. Here we go, Cookie's hoping for a quick break. Taking a moment, and it goes long, it's floating down. There's player chasing it down. Ultimately, too far. That wind just getting behind it and taking it out of the reach of the Cookies player and really into the territory of Blake Holloway. Flow will now be trying to work it upwind again from that corner they've been in before. Many turns in just this first point, which I think shows both how tricky the wind is making this, but also the success of the zone and Tough Cookies' defense. Tough Cookies are looking pretty poachy, trying to really put the pressure on. A hammer to the breaks side doesn't come off despite a bid by Ronnie Reddings. Here we go, Tough Cookies on the end zone line. They just need to find a safe option, thread it through. We've got number 18 with the disc, but another turn. Timeout called. Both teams taking a second to regain their thoughts, figure out how they're going to, where they're going to go from here. We'll be right back after this break. Pardon? Yes.
We are a group of ultimate players.
Big cheer from Cookies as they set up to attack the end zone. Cookies setting up a vertical stack in the middle of the field, trying to give themselves space in that front corner where they want to be attacking. They're comfortably on the high side of the field at the moment. As is customary, the defense has to wait for the offense to set and be ready, and then they're allowed to move and set up their defensive positioning. It swings to Sean. Swings again, but an 8. And it's a score! Great hands to get around the Flow defender. Cookies will be happy to take the first point of the game. Here we go on the replay. You can see it swings from Sean, threads it through to number 26, running through there. Here we go. Flow now coming out on offense. Cookies having to pull upwind. Flow will be happy to have the wind behind them after they struggled to get it out of the area around their zone, off that line, and struggled to put it long. We've seen them try to put it long going upwind. I'm sure we'll see them try to put it long going downwind. Here comes the pull. Just goes up. Stays in. AUUC Flow taking their time to set up a horizontal stack. Oh, and pressure by Cookies leads to a foul. Foul is called. Uncontested. The disc will be in the hands of Liv. Goes wide, out to Elise. Up the sideline. This is good movement, good momentum. But a D by Cookies. Foul called on that. That's Sam Penfold right on the shoulder there, putting that pressure on. The foul is uncontested. Possession will stay with Flow at that point. And the disc comes in. Disc goes high. Who's under it? Bring comes down in the hands of Flow. Quick pop pass over the top. Nice work by Flow to get a point on the board. That's Bruno Mars reading it, taking it down, and then throwing the assist. Tough Cookies definitely brought the intensity on D, but we'll probably need to watch out for those fouls. Don't want to see more of them during the game. Here we see the replay. Disc comes in, floats high. Bruno Mars reads it well, brings it down, sees the option, over the top. 1-1. Flow will now need to pull upwind, whereas Tough Cookies will be looking to capitalize on being downwind. And the pull goes right up Blady. They're looking for that roll, recognizing that in this wind it's going to be hard to get distance. That shorter pull plus the roll has given them time to set up their arrowhead zone. We saw it work well before against Cookies. Cookies taking a step back, trying to get it round. That zone slowly pushing them back, looking for the options through. It goes wide, it floats into the hands of Cookies, but that option has cost the meters. A long put goes up. Blake Holloway there to bring it down. Flo now working it upwind. Good early movement. Looking for a reset. Cookies right on the shoulder there. They almost had that. Goes up the sideline. Not a lot of space down that side of the field. It is the low side. It's where the wind is looking to push that disc out. And in fact, that was out. We're seeing that zone again. Looks like that zone is now trying to keep Cookies on that sideline where they don't want to be. They get it off. It costs them meters backwards. Good throw, finds space in the middle of the field. Taking it backwards. They're happy to live with the disc. The disc goes high, it pops up. And that's a D by Flo, 59, Brittany Cock. Number 26, Quinlan Cunningham to pick it up. Pick called. Giving the defense a chance to set up, to catch up to where they were before the pick happened. Discs in. Swings wide. Over the top to Blake Holloway. He's looking for a big option. It's not there. We're seeing Cookies responding with a quite poachy defense. Swings wide to Liv. Goes high over the top of the Cookies defender who was hoping to have a bite of that. Swings wide. It's almost too far, but the safe hands of Quinlan William pick it up. Quinlan Cunningham goes long. Oh, what a dive, but not to be. Disc is back in Cookies' possession. That's a beautiful long shot, floating down. Oh, and they almost had it too. Just slipped out of the hands of 31, Dylan Lee. Flo now moving up the field, taking meters, hoping to get it off the sideline. They want to be on the high side. They don't mind losing meters if it means they'll have an easier shot later. Finds Liv Wary, finds Blake Holloway in the middle of the field, goes to ground. Cookies now have a chance. They're going downwind. We're still seeing them struggle against that zone. Nice hands in the middle. Sending it back. Oh, unfortunate. Rain brought it down before but couldn't hold on to this one. Unfortunately, it bounces out of the hands of a Flo player as well. Tough Cookies, they're picking up on that low side where that zone is really putting pressure. Long options not on. Swings across, but the wind just pushes it down. We're seeing Flo taking a bit of time to set up here. They know they've been struggling to get that movement, get those throws coming off as completions. Movement from the back of the stack. Looking for the reset. The reset goes. Oh, but not enough to get around the Cookies defense. Goes back. They were happy working it with their handlers against this zone. Goes up, over Flo, but also over the Cookies player too. Swings high side to Flo. Break pass. It's sitting too high. Everyone's underneath. Comes down in the hands of Cookies. And that's a score! What a fantastic quick turn by Cookies to capitalize off that D. That was Dylan Lee with the D, throwing it through into the end zone for Cookies to score. They now lead 2-0. Sends it through. Beautiful layout bid to keep it up. Both teams having a chat on the line, figuring out what their next move is going to be. Cookies will now have to work it upwind. Disc goes up, that's a good pull, it's floating, coming down right near Flo's end zone. Fast movement by Flo. Shoots it through the middle, finds Bruno Mars. He's looking for his reset, it's not there, finds an option in the middle of the field. Swings around, deep shot goes up, nicely received, good vision. Back to the handlers, and here it goes, up. But unfortunately bouncing out of their hands. Tough Cookies to pick up, going upwind. We're seeing that zones look still. They've gone a bit flatter, trying to put that pressure on and trying to mark out that reset option. They through the middle of the zone. Beautiful way to thread the needle. Looking back for a reset. They're still right on the end zone line. They can't afford to make a mistake here. Scuba over the top. Back through the middle. This is good work by the Cookies handlers. They're being patient and pinpoint. Threads it through the middle. Only for it to bounce out of the hands of Rain. Flo now with a quick turn. Finds the middle, finds Bruno Barnes. Threads it through. That's Elise Matthews with the point. 2-2. Really seeing the effect of the wind in this game. Both teams struggling to get it upwind, get it down to the other zone. Flo will be happy that their zone kept Tough Cookies down near their end zone. But really, if one team is going to have a shot at decisively winning this game, they need to be able to figure out how to move it upwind, how to get around this floaty, swirly wind that's just putting the pressure on and making it a little bit tricky. Flo to pull. Looks like Josh Holloway. Tough Cookies still having a bit of a chat on the line about what they want to see. Disc goes up, it's a nice pull. Gets most of the way down the field, but rolls back. We're seeing that zone. Flo working really hard to get down there, put the zone on before there's much of a chance. Swing, they're happy taking those losses through the middle. What a shot, threads the needle. Back to the handlers. A hammer goes, it's long, it's deep, and And it's caught by Cookies! What a shot! What vision! I'm sure we'll see that again on the replay. Tough Cookies now, 3-2. Sending a strong message to the zone that they're happy to go over the top. They're happy to send it deep. Flow's on the line. They've got the shot now at the downwind point. They need to get this if they want to stay in the game. If they want to keep putting the pressure on Cookies, if they want to keep it neck and neck. Tough Cookies trying to figure out who wants the upwind pull. Doesn't look like anyone really does. And here's the hand from Flo. They're ready. Pull goes up. It's short. Quite tricky in this wind though. Flo's taking their time to get set up. Oh, bounces out of the hands of Flo. This gives Tough Cookies a chance, but they are stuck on the low side with that, and with both teams struggling to get it upwind, this is not going to be an easy point for them. Got that strong zone from Flo. They're really trying hard to stop the break. IO forehand goes through, but not received, just a little too low. Flo has it now, sends it, but despite an awesome layout bid by Amanda McFadden, it's not to be. Tough Cookies will have it again in that corner. Poppers through the cup, it goes high off the D of Flo. Flo now have another shot at getting it into the end zone. So on the sideline, he gets it around the break, bounces out of Ronnie's hands, but it comes back. They've lost some meters high over the top of the defense. Unfortunately, despite a layout bid, it's gonna go to ground. Tough Cookies picking it up again. Oh, and that was a good tip, but not enough to cause a turn. Hammer over the top, too far. Flo now have it right on the doorstep of their end zone, but they've struggled to get it in before. Tough Cookies, especially in this wind and Tough Cookies defense, there's no guarantee it will be a point. Josh Holloway sends it, finds someone on the doorstep, finds 58 on the doorstep. She's looking for a reset. And it's a floating forehand, it's too low. Tough Cookies, pressure pays off. Tough Cookies now still in the corner, but at least on the high side of the field. They're looking deep, they send it long, only to be brought down by Josh Holloway. Flo going for a fast break, it's high, it's floaty. Can they get there in time? No, sails over the head of Bruno Barnes. Tough Cookies once again have the huge task of working it up the field against the wind. They've struggled before. They've tried working it around the zone, popping through the zone. They've tried going long, going over the top of the cut of the arrowhead. Nothing has worked. Pops it through, finds someone in the middle, disrupting that arrowhead. They're going, they've got some momentum. Swings low side, they're still on that low side of the field. Here we go, they've given the arrowhead a chance to reform. They're looking comfortable. Goes high, goes over the top. Brought down in the middle. Finds a handler, swings high side. Big fake, it's not coming. They're gonna have to work it around again. High and wide, nicely read by number 99. Find someone in the middle. It's been called out on the far sideline. And that means that Flo will get possession once again. Tough Cookies will be gutted by that after they'd got such good momentum, after they'd found their way through the zone. But at least they know that if they get the turn down by their end zone, they can do it again. Ronnie Reddings with the disc. He looks long, he puts it high. That's Elise Matthews underneath, but there's a Cookies player there too. Elise Matthews brings it down. No call. That will be a point. 3-all. Big celebration by Flo. Tough Cookies almost got the first upwind point, almost moved it up, but not to be. Flo having a big talk on their line about what they're going to do. Maybe wondering how they can tighten up their zone after Tough Cookies managed to work through on their last possession. Bit of miscommunication about the gender on field. No, about the number of people. Flo had 8 on the field. Flo is celebrating their 10th birthday this year, so I'm sure they'd like the win. Flo have got a hand up there ready. Looks like we have Liv Wary pulling. The wind has died down for a second. I'm sure they just want to get on and start the point. Cookies having a chat on the line. Here we go. Disc goes up. They're going for that rolling pull again. Gets to about halfway, giving their zone a chance to get ready and get set. Cookie's looking comfortable swinging it across the field now. And a long shot goes up. It's low and doesn't quite hang high enough for Cookies to get underneath. We've seen Cookies want to use that long shot on the downwind, want to bypass the slow process of working across the field to beat the arrowhead. Hasn't come off for them this time. Flo now in that low side corner on their end zone line, right where they don't want to be. They're fighting to get the swing off. It's sitting up. They're on high side. Small pass gaining. And just goes up. Oh, almost brought down by 65. But not to be this time. Cookies once again swinging it, using the width of the field to get around that arrowhead. And that's another point. Beautiful swing straight into the end zone before the defense could even get there. That's number 16, Ethan Taylor, with the assist. Tough Cookies just pull ahead. Coaches are wanting to see a bit more intensity, a bit more energy from Flo. Flo now have the downwind. They'll want to get this one in to stop Tough Cookies getting a lead. Tough Cookies are looking more and more confident against that Flo zone, working out how to go around it on the downwind. And we saw them manage to get all the way through the middle on their last upwind possession. Didn't result in a point. They went out before that happened, but I'm sure they'll be hoping to replicate that movement up the field, those quick passes through the middle that had the zone panicking just before, and maybe score the first upwind point of the game. Got a hand. Pull goes up. Good pull, good distance. Against this upwind, it's really hard. We've not seen many pulls get the full distance to the field. Flo sends it long. It's high. It's floaty. Brought down by Flo. That's Josh Holloway to Elise Matthews. Clinical downwind point. Right over the top of the Cookies defender, who did not really have a bit at that at all. 4-all. Now Flo have the chance to get the upwind break. They've shown they can get the turn, but still struggle to move it upfield to get off their end zone line when they're going upwind. Tough Cookies, on the other hand, will want to get this one in. Don't want to give up on the downwind point, especially when they're starting on offense. They've seen the long options, they've used the long options before. So it'll be interesting to see whether they keep going for those or whether they're happy to swing around the zone. Pull goes up from Ronnie Reddings. Rolls down to that low side of the field. The zone will be happy with that. That's got Tough Cookies right where they like them. On the line, not a lot of space. And a hard throw to get the swing. The upwind swing is going to float. It's going to give time for Flo to get underneath. Not resulting in a D, but definitely putting the pressure on the Cookies players. They go around towards the high side. Back to the middle. Flo are right there bidding for every disc. They've gone low side again. They don't want to go much further. It floats, and it's brought down by Flo. 58 with the D there. Amy settling into a vertical stack. They get the break off. Settling again. They're looking for a swing. Looking comfortable going upwind. Through the middle. Struggling to find a reset. Moving, inching slower, closer and closer to that low side. Now they're breaking, now they're on high side. And it's brought down. That's the upwind break Flo were wanting. Brought down by 54. Jasmine Gulanis, and you can hear Flo celebrating. That's huge for them in this game. And I'm sure having one upwind in the bank will definitely give them the confidence, the inspiration to keep pushing, keep fighting for those upwind points. Tough Cookies know that they need an upwind point in order to match and keep up and stay in this game. They're getting a pep talk on the line and a bit of a discussion about the force. Flo, on the other hand, will be looking for a quick clinical downwind point if they can get the turn. I assume we'll see their zone again. A zone is going to force the opposition to make lots of passes, and in a tricky wind, when you're throwing up wind, that's going to give their defense a chance to get under those discs or a chance for mistakes to be made. Downwind pull. And we're still seeing their arrowhead zone. Tough Cookies swinging it round, trying to stay on high side by the looks of things. They look to thread it through. Good hand, sends it to ground. That's Quinlan Cunningham getting the turn for Flo. They want to capitalize on this now. They want to get two in a row. It goes high from Ronnie Reddings. It's floating. There's everyone underneath it. Comes down in the hands of Quinlan. What a point. That's two in a row for Flo. That brings the score to 6-4. And that is bookends. Big celebration for Flo, really trying to get in Cookie's heads. And look at that point. It was everyone underneath that disc, but eventually Quinlan came down with it. It was a long, floaty shot. I'm sure Ronnie would have liked it to be less high to give defense less chance to get underneath. But good reading by Flo. Tough Cookies now coming out on offense downwind. They should be able to get this one in. It is downwind. They've managed the downwind points before. They know it's going to be hard for Flo to score upwind. We've yet to see any person defense from Flo. They're relying on their zone. Nice floating pull, gets up the field, giving their zone a chance to set. Goes backwards from Tough Cookies, but at least it's on the high set. Huge put downwind, floats over Flo to the Cookies player in the end zone, right over head of the defense. That was a beautiful option, a beautiful put by number 16, Ethan Taylor, into the hands of the Cookies player. That's the downwind point they need to stay in the game. We'll see it again. He winds up, he sends it long, good edge, it stays nice and flat the whole way down into the hands of the waiting receiver. Big cheers from the sideline too. Tough Cookies are not giving up yet. Games at 13, so half is at 7. Flo just needs one more point to get to take half. Cookies, I'm sure, won't want to let that happen. They don't want to be going into the next half 2 points down. They're going to fight for this one. They'll want to get that upwind point. Trying to get some more intensity, sending their players over the other sideline to get some noise on the field. Wind's dropped for a second. Perfect time for a pull. And they're rolling it straight down towards the end zone. Skips past the Flo player. And they're down there. They're putting pressure on. Disc goes through the middle. They're on the low side, and we're seeing Cookies responding with a sort of poachy zone. Yeah, they've got an arrowhead too. They're trying to trap them on the sideline. Just swings to high side. The zone isn't there. It's not set. Flo take the opportunity to send it through the middle. Send it deep. And it's going down. But it's too far out of the field. After a beautiful zone O point, Flo now have to switch gears. They want to put the pressure on. They want to keep Cookies down here on the doorstep of the zone. Cookies swinging it, moving against the zone. They find a hole in the middle. That's beautiful work. They go for another one through the middle, bring it down. Swinging back. They've shown they can find the holes. Flo are going to need to tighten up if they want to avoid getting broken. Goes wide to the high side, a little low, but kept alive by number 17. It's an upwind hammer. There's two underneath it, but it's not to be. Blake Holloway with the D. Impressive distance on that upwind hammer. Really looking to just get it out, get it away from the zone. Here we go, the Tough Cookies zone. It's gone through the middle. Flo have got a lot of distance off that one pass. And here comes the trap. They want to keep them on that sideline on the low side. They go backwards and around, getting closer to high side. It's high, it's up, it's floaty. There's Cookies underneath it. Cookies come down with it. And they respond with a long shot of their own. It's floating, it's going left, and it's brought down by Cookies. In the zone, Cookies respond with their own upwind point. What a shot. What a put to keep it up when fighting against that wind. That's number 80, maybe? Brought down by Ethan Taylor, thrown by Jackson Tan, I think. Six. Both teams have a shot at taking half. Timeout's been called. So we'll be back to you after the break.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ulti.TV.
And we're back. Both teams figuring out how they're going to come out, how they're going to have the best shot at taking half in this closely fought game between the 11th and 7th seed. Initially, both teams struggled to get those upwind points on the board. Cookies having just scored their first upwind point of the game. Cookies now coming out on defense. Flo starting on offense, but they've got the struggle of getting it upwind. We've seen Tough Cookies have been able to put it long. Flo have managed to work it up to get their point in, their upwind point in. Cookies are ready. They're wanting to go. Flo just taking their time, figuring out a plan. We saw Cookies come out with a zone in the past few points. Interesting to see whether they're going to continue that zone, knowing that Flo have to work it upfield, or if they're going to go back to person. The pull goes, it's floating well, sailing down to the other end zone, but not quite getting past the line. Josh Holloway picking up, and we are seeing that Cookie zone. It's looking like a cup. They're trying to keep them on the sideline. They're forcing it. That's Ronnie on the sideline. He goes backwards. Doesn't manage to swing it across the rest of the field, though. Finds a hole through the cup. Back to the middle of the field. It's a hammer across the field, but too far. The connection between the brothers is just not there, and the hammer goes out the field. Cookie's now picking up. Just past halfway, but they are on that low side. They send it long for the swing. It floats. Plenty of time for the Cookies to get underneath. Swinging back through the middle. We've got that flow zone set up. They're looking strong. It sends high over. No one's there, though. Good bid by number 99, Shanty, but he's just too late. Flo capitalizing on a quick turn. They want to get the disc moving. They want it out of this danger zone. It goes high. And over the top of everyone, Jackson Tan maybe getting a touch to it. Cookie's on the high side, swinging it back. Goes long, a hammer that just slips through the hands of the receiver. That's Luke Humphreys, I've got the names wrong. Sending the hammer down. Flo now moving it upwind. Cookie's intercepted by Maoli Turney. It's a long, but it's floating. There's two underneath it. And Flo just managed to steer it away from Cookies. There's been a call. Foul called. Contested. No, uncontested, so possession stays with Flo. They've got a quick movement. They're trying to get away before this arrowhead can come and clamp down. Luke bringing it down for the D for Cookies. Good quick movement. Through that arrowhead. Luke's the hammer, not this time. He wants horizontal movement. Sees an option on the high side. It's high, it's floating all the way out the back of the end zone. Cookies are going to need to just reel in those long shots, get them a bit more precise. Flo picking up. They've got to walk it back in. This has given the Cookies zone a chance to get ready. We've got three up front. Unclear whether they're going to try and trap it on a sideline or not. We've got Luke Humphreys covering the deep. We know Flo like a deep option. And there's been a turn. Cookies now right on the doorstep. Finds Luke Humphreys. Easy pass over the front line of the end zone, and Cookies take half. After being down after Flo got the first upwind point, they've fought, they've come back, they've got their own upwind point, and they've taken half. We'll have the rest of the coverage for you right in a couple of minutes after halftime. Welcome back to AUUC Flow against Tough Cookies. Half was taken by Tough Cookies just by 1 point. Despite them being down for the first half, they managed to claw it back, get an upwind point, and secure the half. I think mentally it's been a tough half for Tough Cookies, especially because Flow got that first upwind break, really putting the pressure on them to respond, to not make any mistakes, and to really bank those downwind points. I'm sure Flow now will be wanting more of those upwind points. They know they can get the breaks. They know they want to win this game. So they're going to come out fiery, I'm sure. They've been out on the field, Flow, getting those throws in, getting used to the wind. The wind is not giving up. It's getting stronger and stronger. There's a really clear low side of the field in the corner that both teams have been struggling to get out with. So Flow's hoping to combat that by just giving their players a little bit of time to practice their throws in this wind. Tough Cookies just been trying to keep their energy up, keep building off the grind and the fight they put in the first half. We've got Tough Cookies coming out on defense. Flow having a downwind point for their O point. I think they'll probably want to capitalize on it quickly, get that in the bank so they can start working on a break point. They don't want to give Tough Cookies another chance at an upwind break, because that is a lot of work for them to catch back up on. I think both teams have said they've been struggling with the wind. They've been really feeling it on the field. We've seen, despite that though, we've seen some long shots come up. We've seen some upwind hammers. We've seen some upwind puts. So keep an eye out for both teams giving it their all, not letting the wind stop them from taking options. Here we go. Flow moving downwind. They're on the low side, staying on that sideline. That's Elise Matthews getting it on the low sideline. She's looking for a swing, finds Liv Wary. No call, just unfortunate. The disc got tipped for Flow. Tough Cookies now, they have a chance to work it upwind. They have a chance to get another break. Number 81 goes up to bring it down for Cookies, but he can't get it. Here we go. That's great footwork by Flow, securing themselves the downwind point, bringing the score to 7-7. Look at that footwork, really making sure he's got 1 foot in to secure that disc on that second attempt. Flow now will be thinking about how they're going to try and get an upwind break. They've got to get a turn first, and then they're going to have to work it up against this wind. We've seen Cookies pull out a zone, especially when Flow is going upwind. So they might be thinking about how they're going to beat that, how they're going to work it around that. Cookies, on the other hand, then they know they're going downwind. But Flow so far have been playing zone even when they're going downwind. So they have to make a decision. They're going to go around the back of the zone, and they're going to use the width of the field, or are they going to try and send it over the top, which we've seen them do a couple of times. Cookies showing they're ready. They've got a hand up. Flow's still figuring out a couple of things, figuring out what they want to do. Disc goes up, it's rolling. Doesn't get super far, but Flow at least have a time to set up their zone. Finds a hole through the middle of the zone. That's great work by the handlers. Flow working hard to stop that throw to the high side. Doesn't come off. Goes across to low side. They don't want to get stuck there. It's floating. Good communication. Brought down. Goes up to the end zone, but players. Flow now starting in that high side corner. They've got to work it up the entire pitch against the wind. Doesn't look like Cookies are putting on a zone. Looks like they're sticking to person defense for this one. This swings to the middle. There's no one on the open side though. Small gaining pass. Cookies are pushing them towards that low side. Goes up the line. It's a long shot. It's up. It's floating. And it's out. Good D by Cookies. Great to see that Flow is not afraid to put those long shots up, even though it's against the wind. They know they've got skilled throwers. They know they've got people who can put it up in this wind. Cookies now having to work downwind, which should be easier, but they still have that problem of getting stuck on that low side of the field. Swing, floats into the hands of Dylan Lee. Back to the middle. It goes high. Brought down. We've got... and they look for an option in the middle of the field. It's not to be. Flow now, quick turn. They want to get the disc moving. Flow playing with three handlers back to give themselves options. Great hands, bringing it down right on the sideline, only meters from the end zone, and that goes in! That's a second upwind point for Flow! That was Amanda McFadden bringing it down just a meter or so outside the end zone and sending it through. Flow coming out, 2 points in a row after half. If Cookies had momentum before half, Flow now have it. Cookies need to work really hard now to get an upwind break themselves. We can probably expect to see the Flow zone coming down again. It's been pretty effective so far at stopping Cookies, although Cookies have managed to sneak it through the middle a couple of times. But given the wind, it's probably a good bet to play a zone. It's going to force the players to make more throws. And in windy conditions, that means players are more likely to make mistakes, and that could be a turn. So here we go, Flow coming out. They'll be hungry for their third point in a row. Tough Cookies will want to show that they too can get an upwind point. There we go, that zone set, and it's a huge long put, upwind! There's two people underneath it, it's fading, that's good. Oh, and it's faced the wrong side of the field. What a layout bid for the cameras. Oh! And here we go. More layout defense by Tough Cookies. They're not happy to have the disc taken away from them. Flow now looking comfortable moving it downwind. It goes over the top, bounces out of the hands of the Cookies players only to come back safely. Another long shot by Luke Humphries. It goes high. There's two Cookies players there. It's on the edge of the zone. Can they get it in? And that's an easy pass. Right in. That's from Jenny Ling to Shanti Padai. And that was just a beautiful long shot from Luke Humphries, getting it all the way up the field to Jenny Ling. And then there was plenty of, she took her time. She found the open player. A beautiful upwind point. 8-8. I think there that really showed that Tough Cookies were able to get a quick turn to capitalize off the fact that the zone had not had a chance to set up yet, and they could huck it along, get it in. Also, amazing control of the disc. As I've said before, in these windy conditions, the wind makes the disc turn over. It can make it hard for the players to read. It can make it go short or high or just straight to the ground. Cookies now coming out on defense. We've seen them play person defense. We've seen them play a zone. Will be interesting to see what they pull out here. They've seen that Flo can put it long. Are they going to want to have a zone where someone can be back to watch those long shots, or are they going to play person where they can have matchups, where they can have people? Looks like we're seeing the zone. Oh, and the disc just goes through the hands of Flo, giving Cookies a chance just on the end zone. Luke Humphreys picking out. That's a vertical stack. They're looking for options. It's high, it's floaty, but it comes down. Pick called. Discussion, I think, about when the pick occurred. Disc comes in, it's a scuba again, but hits the ground this time. Flo now with the chance, but they are in that low side corner at that place that's just so hard to get out of. Cookies, their zone's crunching in, they're stopping that swing option. They've got a bit of an assassin on the middle handler. Flo get it off the sideline, but they're backwards. They're inside their own zone. Backwards again to Benjamin Chong. The zone's putting the pressure on. He doesn't look like he's got many options. He's just going to put it long. And it's going to go out. When a stall out has been called, this means that if the stall out is uncontested, the disc will go back to the end zone to be taken from the front line. A stall out is when a player holds the disc for more than 10 seconds. Looks like they've made the decision just to play from where the disc went out. Beautiful high put from Luke Humphreys. Oh, but just skims out of the hands of the Cookies receiver. Flo now stuck on their end zone line again. They're going to have to work hard to get it up. We saw Cookies put immense amounts of pressure on their handlers on that line before, resulting in a turn. Can they do it again? Looks for a long option. Almost takes out the cameraman. Disc has gone out and not come back into the field, which means it's going to be taken from up near the end zone. Luke Humphreys with the disc. He's been an instrumental handler for the Tough Cookies side. We've seen him throw hammers and scubas to get it in. Disc is in. They're looking for options. Scubas across the middle of the field. Beautiful inside-out shot through. Brought down by Cookies, securing them the point. Lots of celebrations there. And we'll see that IO shot again, just beautifully sailing through the crowds of people to be brought down safely in the end zone. now bringing all their players onto the field to get a bit of energy on the sideline, to get that support from the sideline. Bit of discussion about what the gender split is. We have Flow coming out on offense. They'll be going downwind, whereas Tough Cookies are going to be fighting upwind to get that point in. And in order to do that, they're going to need to get a turn first. We've seen them get turns before, but we've also seen Flow just able to send a long shot down to their receivers. Tough Cookies looks like they're coming out in a zone to counter Flow. It's an arrowhead. They're not putting too much pressure on the handlers. They're letting it swing. They're just occupying that space in the middle of the field. Flow are looking flustered. I don't think they're expecting this. Up it goes, sailing through the middle into the hands of Ethan Taylor, the Cookies deep defender. Cookies now finding space in the field, swinging to high side. It's a long shot. It's 2 Flow on 1 Cookies. And just gets a tip over the Cookies player. Looks like there's going to be some discussion about if it was a foul or not. They're asking for some perspective of the other players nearby. They're signaling that the turn stands. No call. Flow will be picking up. They've got the whole length of the field to go. We're seeing those Cookies quickly getting into their zone. Goes high over, just stays in. Ronnie sends it over the top, brought down by Elise. Elise taking her time, sends it back. Flow swinging it across the field, moving all the way around the arrowhead. Now they punch through to Ronnie on the sideline. This right on the end zone. That's Josh Holloway with the disc. Sends it back. They're still on this high side. And it goes up into the hands of the Flow player in the end zone, bringing the score to 9-9. That was Amanda McFadden to Elise Matthews. Nicely continuing once Josh Holloway managed to get it off that sideline with a beautiful inside output. Timeout has been... Soft cap has gone. I think it went in the last point, which means we're adding 1 to the highest score and playing to that. So this should be game to 10, universe point. If I've heard things correctly from the teams. Both teams are going to want to come out firing. Both teams have fought so hard this entire game, working hard against the wind, working hard against each other's zones. They both want the win. As I said at the start of the game, they've won both teams won their earlier games. They want to keep up that winning streak. Tough Cookies coming out on offense on a downwind point. Flow have the much harder job of first getting a turn, secondly working it up the field for an upwind score. But we've seen them do it before. Flow have had a lot of success with their zone. We haven't seen them play anything else. We can assume they're probably going to stick to their tried and tested zone coming into this universe point, but they might want to switch it up to really throw Cookies off. Pull goes up. Here we go, here's the zone. At the moment, it looks like they're going to let that swing go backwards. Now they're pitching in, they let it back to high side. We've got B and Ethan. They've been instrumental handlers. They've been quite comfortable working against the zone. Oh, but it just bounces out of the hands of B. She's been such a reliable handler for Cookies. Now Flow have their chance to get their upwind point that they need to secure the game. Josh Holloway picking up, he finds his reset, they send it up. Good hands to keep that alive. They're on the low side. Swing back to the middle, not forcing it in. Threads it through, but a Cookies defender is there. Cookies now with the chance to get the game. They're looking long, it's not coming, settling. They're on the high side. They still look like they want it long. Sending it over the top, nice into a nice pocket of space. That's good work by 81 to find those pockets, sending it over the top. Brought down by Cookies, only just staying in and into the end zone for the game. What an exciting point, with both teams getting turns, both teams having a shot at the game, but Cookies will take it out at the end of the day. Cookies, the 11th seed, beating Flow, the 7th seed. And you can hear them cheering. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here for the next game, which is... I can't remember. You'll just have to find out. Goodbye.